Cheryl or Sherry?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, that's what I thought.
Chris, this is an amazing story. Tell us how you overcame such a huge setback to go on to win the bronze medal.
Well, Cheryl, it's been an amazing ride. I'm very grateful to still be here. I was on a waiting list for about 6 years after being diagnosed in the early 90s with a rare liver disease. Through a routine physical, I was informed that my liver was failing and I'd one day need a liver transplant. After about 6 years on a waiting list,
wow.
I received that gift of life and a second chance, and had a miraculous recovery.
Well, explain the process you went through for your transplant. Like, what difficulties did you encounter in that process?
Sure, Cheryl. I would say, being on a waiting list is a precarious place to be. And, initially it was pretty scary because I felt fine, and yet my doctors and transplant team were telling me that that wasn't the case. And I think just keeping yourself healthy and keeping your spirits up while you're waiting and hoping and praying for a second chance is the biggest challenge. And I'm often asked that question, how hard was it to bounce back from a liver transplant? And I don't want to make light of it and say that it was easy, but compared to the waiting list, it was. Once I received that second chance, it was like a new engine got dropped in me, and I knew I was going to make it back.
Incredible.
I had a miraculous recovery. I was out of the hospital 4 days later and snowboarding 7 weeks later and participating in my second Winter Olympics just 7 weeks after my transplant. So it was an awesome experience.
Wow. David, tell us about the recent Save a Life survey and what it found.
Sure. This is a national survey, and Donate Life America partnered with Astellas to conduct a survey, and the exciting news from that was that 57% of those surveyed said that they are committed to being an organ donor, to providing hope for patients waiting, just like Chris was, and to ultimately, hopefully, save their lives if they have an opportunity to do so. One of the challenging things that the survey found was that 48% of the people surveyed said they didn't know how to register, and that's one of the things we want to make sure that we communicate far and wide and very clearly, is that it is as simple as going on the internet. Any of your listeners can go to donatelife.net, click on a map of the United States, click on their state, and they can immediately go to register to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor in their state, and it's that simple. You don't have to wait till your next driver's license transaction to make sure that your wish to be an organ donor is known and is going to be honored.
What do you think discourages people from registering as organ donors?
That's probably one of the most common questions that we receive when we do interviews like this, and I think it really comes down to people's fear. It's fear of death and dying. It's fear of making a family member uncomfortable. It's misconceptions about donation and transplantation. Many people believe that their religion is against it, though there is no major religion that is against organ, eye, and tissue donation, with most considering it an incredible gift that you can give in your death. So I think, but it really just comes down to a number of latent fears and misconceptions that people have. And, the message we want to get across, and that's why it's incredible to have somebody like Chris on the phone, is it's normal, everyday people just like you and me that are waiting for a second chance at life. And if you have an opportunity to do that in the tragedy of someone dying, what an incredible gift to give.
Indeed. To both of you, you mentioned donatelife.net. Are there other places we can go for more information?
David, go ahead.
Sure. There are a host of websites out there. The government has a website, organdonor.gov. There are links from our site to most other sites that we consider to be accurate sources of information. So donatelife.net can get you to a number of other places. If people have a particular interest in data, they can go to UNOS.org, which is the organization that runs the national wait list and the national transplant community.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being with us today to share such an inspiring story and a very needed one. Thank you.
You bet, Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl.
Bye-bye.